I think it's important for us to understand that the idea that it's our privileges that are being taken away. And then it's funny because we keep fighting for those privileges to be reinstated. When I think like, again, I think we're just viewing it the wrong way. I think we thought somehow that those privileges equaled influence, and that the world would be changed by the influence or the privileges that were there. That somehow, if we get the 10 Commandments in schools, that is evangelism. But that's not what God has called the church to be missional with. Right?
Yeah.
He's called us to be missional by how we live in the world and how we teach and share the gospel by word and by deed. All right. Welcome to the Church Dropout podcast. My name is Alan. I'm joined by
Lisa.
Church Dropout is a podcast. We talk about issues, topics, and teachings related to faith, life, and culture in ways that are sometimes funny, sometimes serious, but always insightful. If you have not already, please like, rate, and subscribe here on YouTube. We would appreciate it. And drop a comment below. We want to keep the conversation moving forward. So, I want to, kind of drop a little bit of knowledge here on you, the community that I found out. I may have even found out through you. But apparently, I think we've been getting this wrong. And unfortunately, I think it has some adverse effects on, comments that we've made and all types of stuff. So, I think you told me this, but let me get to it, huh? What you laughing at?
Because I know you. You got something up your sleeve. What you finna say?
I ain't got no sleeves. So apparently, the prayer emoji is not a prayer emoji.
Yeah, and it's not called a prayer
emoji. Well, we use it as the prayer emoji.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not the prayer emoji.
Correct.
So it is a high five emoji. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
It is. But honestly, I feel like generationally, if you're using it towards someone that's more in your generation, they're seeing it as either or. You know what I mean? So the same way you're sending it is the same way they're seeing it.
Yeah, and that's where the problem comes in, Lisa.
Why?
So let me give you an example.
Okay.
Family member passes away. Somebody says, Lisa, my family member's passed away. And you put the hands emoji.
Well, I wouldn't.
I'm just saying you did.
Yeah.
Are you high-fiving the death in their family?
No.
Or are you praying for who?
Yeah.
But
you know what?
Hold on, Lisa. This is a problem. Because many people I've commented on saying I'm praying for you when I'm really just high-fiving them.
Yeah. But to your defense, I will say that when you type into your phone, I'm praying for you, and you know how, like, especially if you have an iPhone, you know the little emojis pop up?
Yeah.
The praying emoji, the hand fives clapping, the high five, that pops up.
The hands five.
So
clapping.
I think it's like an either or.
Well, no. Is that because it's artificial intelligence in terms of understanding what you use? You see what I'm saying?
Maybe, yeah.
The problem is that all this time,
yeah,
some people could have just been happy I've been going through it and not telling me they're praying for me. They could have just been high five, and I'm going through a difficult time, and they're just like, "Amen." Who knows? We could have offended. We may have offended a lot of people.
I don't think so.
Well,
I mean, it's just like when everybody found out about the poop emoji.
What's wrong with the poop emoji?
That is, it's not a poop emoji.
This is too much for one episode. What is the poop emoji?
Isn't it ice cream?
With eyes?
Wait.
What are you talking about, Lisa?
Wait, no.
Wait. Hold on. See, now this is an old folk conversation. This is when we know we've hit a place.
Yeah, it's just too much emojis.
It's a point of no return.
I'm telling you, it's too many emojis. It's too many.
Well, the fact that I think we're overthinking the emojis, that maybe even just be a sign.
Or too many. What's the like someone says thank you, it's TY or YW.
Yeah.
Or
but let's get back to this. Let's
rolling
get back to
on the floor laughing.
Let's get back to the poop. What is the poop emoji?
I could be wrong. I think people thought it was ice cream, chocolate ice cream.
Oh my God.
One of them.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I don't use it. I don't use the emoji, so I don't even really know. But are you about to look it up?
I'm about to look it up.
Because, yeah, I don't know. Because now I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other ice cream emojis unless it's like on a cone. I don't know. It's just too many emojis. Like, you can't fault people for not knowing.
Okay, well, hey, I don't know if this is true or not, but the emoji gods describe the troublesome pictogram as a pile of poo that is shaped like soft-serve ice cream.
See?
Brown in color with a friendly smile in most versions. Well, that solves it then. It's poo, not ice cream.
So... You know what I mean? Because honestly, okay, no, never mind. Not going to go there. That's just some pretty poop. I'll just say that.
Well, we're old, officially. We're so old. I'm so old. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for context in emojis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I found that to be pretty...
I mean, my mom sends me emojis. Like, she can't even, like, honestly, I'm not even an emoji type person. I don't even use it. I really try not to. And my phone tries to give me emojis, and I'm like, no, this is what I wanted to say, and this is what I'm going to say. But my mom, like, every time she texts me something, it has to have an emoji. And, you know what I mean? At least one emoji, and it's just like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's messing up our young kids because. No, I'm serious because, I train at work and everything. And so, some of them aren't really good with spelling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Truth. Our own kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they don't text.
No. I'm just saying they're going to get there. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be a whole bunch of emojis. There ain't even going to be words.
I don't plan. We may disagree on this, but I don't plan on our kids having cell phones until.
We agree.
Maybe sophomore-ish high school or something like that.
We agree, which is totally fine. That's when I got mine. I didn't need a cell
phone. If we get them one early, it's going to be a jitter phone that has
a jitterbug.
No, it's going to be one of them. It's going to be one of them cell phones with the big letters. There's a button that just says home, mom, dad, and that's all they could do is just
911.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? So, but
I only had phone on the weekends. Like when I went to go hang out with, like if I went out somewhere, my parents would be like, here, take my phone.
Well,
if something happens.
But
but still, you know what I mean? And then but when I got a car, that's when I kind of needed this phone because, so, I mean, I never needed to call my parents. Honestly, I didn't really use payphones. So if you're like, well, there was a payphone on every corner. Okay. But I never really used payphones. You know what I mean? So there's no need for an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old to have a phone.
Yeah.
There's no need.
Right.
Our son was just talking about, he 8 and he was just talking about they have phones in class the other day. And I'm like.
Yeah, I just think it's, I just don't see what the need is. And then, just the social engaging aspect of it. Like, why do they need phones?
Right.
But anyway, that's a whole different conversation.
It is. Sorry, guys.
So, one sign that we're older.
Yes.
And also the over usage of emojis.
Yes.
Okay. When your mom's emojifying everything,
it's too much.
Yeah.
It's
You just gotta just use words.
Yes.
Call.
No. I'm not a.
Well, you got to be careful because we said we were done.
No
I don't either. That's the hard part. But we're supposed to be done with this. But that's the sign. Again, this is when you're getting. You know what else? You know how you're getting old too. It's like when the person who's texting you is old because they'll text you, and if you respond, they call you. Oh. It's a setup.
It is. It is. My mom does. And I'll be like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, gotcha.
Then I turned into my parents. My parents used to do this all the time. Like, and I do this too. Like the phone ring or something like that. And my dad, before my mom pick up the phone, my dad would say, "Tell him I'm in the bathroom." Because he don't want to talk.
Yes, my parents.
So before you even pick up the phone, I'm in the bathroom.
Don't even know who it is.
Nope. So listen, just tell him I'm in the bathroom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. So, but anyway, old people talk. So, well, all right. Thank you for indulging our old people conversation. Right. Just think twice before you use the hands emoji. You could be high-fiving someone's traumatic experience. Yes. You could be high-fiving it.
Or praying for somebody that you're congratulating.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. So all right. What we're going to talk about today is persecution. And, is the American church today being persecuted? Are we facing persecution today as the American church? From one of my friends, I get a text from him every morning, almost every morning, where he'll send me a chapter from, Fox's Book of Martyrs. He's reading. There's a book called Fox's. It's just an old book. And I read it in school a long time ago, stuff like that. But anyway, he's reading it again. But it just talks about, what happened to some of the early church folks, how they were being persecuted and stuff like that. And it kind of just got me thinking about reading some of these stories again. And as he and I discuss it, shout out Steve, as he and I discuss it. Are we being persecuted today? Like, is what we're facing persecution? And then you brought up a question or kind of a comment about it. So I thought it'd be good for us to talk about it. Yeah. So do you think we are facing persecution in America or being persecuted?
No. And I feel like, especially as Americans, don't even know the slightest of what it feels like to be persecuted.
Why do you feel that way?
Because, none of us, we've never had to, hide reading the word. We've never had to, have people banging down our doors, asking us if we're Christians. If we're not, we're going to get shot. We've never had, us have to sneak somewhere to fellowship. And you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've always had, in our generation, we've always had the freedom, to, pick whichever religion we want to pick, study whichever Bible we want to study, just, pray if we want to pray, not pray, like we've always had that freedom to make that decision. And, and I feel like, other countries and other, places, they know that closer than us. I just don't think that we've never had to experience that, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, yeah, we've never experienced
No,
that,
no,
at least here.
no. I mean, I would think, like, you know, our ancestors, you know,
Yeah.
back in slavery days, you know what I mean? When we were not, you know, when our ancestors were not taught to read, you know, or they couldn't learn how to read. And so, you know, the Bible was read to them.
Yeah.
And some things were skipped, some things were hidden so that they didn't hear. And you know what I mean? And so, you know, we don't know that experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
You thought I was looking for somebody? Girl, what you
saw?
scared of?
I think you saw one of the kids. That's what I was
Thought I
like.
saw one of them little creepies running up. One of the young crazy legs.
So, but yeah, I just, you know, we've never had to experience that other than, you know, like the ancestors, or, you know, in the biblical days,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Where, you know.
Yeah, we laughing about. But we, you know, one of our kids is a stalker, though.
Do not leave my babies alone.
Well, I mean, when you just stand behind corners and peek your head out and just stare, it's a little creepy. It's like, bruh, you either come out and show your body. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, dude, why are you stalking?
They love their mama.
And that's true.
They love their daddy too. You know what I mean? But I've learned from watching other TikToks that it's not just our kids. You know, and even we even had a stalker dog. You know what I mean? Before, God bless his little soul, before he passed on, he used to be hiding around the corners. He like giving you the eye, like it's time to go to bed.
Right. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, you know, I agree, Lisa. I definitely understand that. You know, I mean, let's talk about what we would what is persecution. You know, like when we talk about persecution, you know, what do we mean by that?
Yeah.
You know, because I think there's multiple categories that the scripture talks about, right? I think in one sense there's something called hardship, right? I think Christians face hardship in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Not necessarily persecution, it's just hardship, right? Some things happen as a result of our faith in terms of, you know, we experience certain hardships because we don't, you know, give in to certain cultural things. And I'm not talking about like being persecuted for that. I'm just saying we suffer loss and hardships. Because of our faith. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, just because we're being faithful to God. Like,
you know, when we first became Christians, I think in your situation, you lost friends.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So things like that, you know, maybe even some people have lost family members, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Those are hardships. That are sometimes just brought on about life, but that are also brought on because of our faith. Yeah. Not as a result, can be as a result of our faith, but not directly related to our faith in the same sense that it would be for persecution, you know? So, but yeah, there are hardships. And then there is also persecution, which is, I think the scripture is kind of clear on that. That's being persecuted clearly for your faith because of your faith. Right. That's suffering. That's persecution, right? For Jesus's name. Yes. You are being persecuted for my name's sake. Yes. That's persecution. And like you said, I think there's a lot of people, unfortunately, mostly outside of the American context, that are facing persecution. Like real persecution. Right. Like the church is underground. Yeah. You know, it's not mainstream. It can't be mainstream, or, you know, you're being forced to, you know, meet in these ways. Like there's persecution because Jesus's name, they don't want Jesus's name to be known. You're being persecuted because you rock with Jesus. Yes. You know what I mean? And so, that's persecution. I think a lot of what we face here in America, I think will fall under more of the hardship category. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't necessarily be persecution. I think it's, it's hardships. We're not being solely persecuted because of the name of Christ.
Right.
We might be being persecuted because of association, with him, in terms of we have faith. You know what I mean? Like, it's because of our Christian faith, but it's not because we're lifting up the name of Christ that we're being persecuted. And I think that's where the problem is. Yeah. But even beyond that, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, holistically. Like, I'm not making a blanket statement saying that we don't experience persecution at all as Christians. But I don't think, we experience a whole lot of persecution here. To be honest with you, I think what Christians face, what we're calling persecution nowadays, I think is a loss of privileges. It's we're calling it persecution, but what it is we no longer hold the privilege that we once held here.
Yeah.
So we're not being persecuted.
Right.
Just your privileges are being taken away. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily persecution, right? Oh my gosh, they want to take the 10 Commandments out of the schools. Well, that was a privilege.
Yeah.
That we no longer have.
Right.
That's not necessarily persecution.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like, they're not doing that because they hate Jesus.
Right.
They may be taking away that privilege. You know what I mean? And so I think what Christians are facing, a lot of what we're facing today here in America, is we're losing the influence and the privileges that we had in the world. Where there were certain things, like, as people will say, quote unquote, this nation was built on Christian values, right? And those values were, we were lived out in very plain ways within our culture at one time, right? This is what people would say, right? Like I said, prayer in school, you know what I mean? Like, all of those things were a part of, the culture, right? Those were privileges, right? Yeah. And as the nation, grew more diverse, so did the ideas of how religion should be held in the public square.
Yeah.
Right. And so, right or wrong, it's just the reality. And so now those privileges are being walked back. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that we're being persecuted.
Right.
It just means that that's a loss of privilege.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to categorize it that way too, because in some senses, I think it takes away from the persecution that people are really experiencing, whether here or in other places in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there are people who are really suffering and really being persecuted for their faith.
Yeah.
They don't have privilege, nor do they have, nor are they being, nor can they have their faith in the public square.
Right.
They're being persecuted.
Right.
Oh, you love Jesus?
Yeah.
Then you're going to meet death.
Right. Like, they have to denounce,
right.
You know what I mean? That they, have a relationship, or you know what I mean?
Right. It's different when they say, hey, you can't pray any longer in schools, but you could pray anywhere else you want to. See, that's different.
Right.
You could pray at home. You can pray over your dinner at a restaurant.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but we're not going to mandate prayer in schools.
Right.
That's a privilege. That's not persecution.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now when it gets to, listen, no, you cannot pray anywhere publicly. That's different.
And that's,
Because now you're telling me I can't engage God in certain spaces.
Yeah. You'll be arrested, or
absolutely,
or you'll be kicked out of,
absolutely,
whatever place you are,
Yeah. And in fact, I never really even understood the idea of prayer in schools, to be honest with you. Just in terms of, like, my kids can pray in school. They can pray before their day starts. They can pray over their food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Right. Like, again, so I think we would be hard pressed to say that there's true persecution happening in the in America today. What we're experiencing is a loss of privilege, right? What was I going to say about I was reading a story, I think, and I might have to cut this out because I can't remember every part of the story, but I was reading a story and somebody was talking about persecution. They're being persecuted because they were locked out of their building or something like that. And it's like, but the reason why they were being locked out of their building had to do with, ordinances or something. It had to do with. And I'm like, that's not persecution. Like it's not persecution. Even if they're locking you out, as the church, but if it's violating one of their ordinances, that doesn't make it persecution.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, they don't normally enforce this. They're only enforcing it on the church. Okay, well, then, maybe.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But the reality is that holistically, I just don't think we're experiencing what would consider to be biblically, persecution.
Yeah.
I think we are experiencing hardships as a result of our faith. Right. Yes, I think there are certain things we suffer because we are Christians in the world. And the fact that we don't live the way everyone else lives, or we don't live lives that are compatible with the culture that we live in, is going to cause us natural hardships.
Yeah.
But to say that what we're experiencing is persecution, maybe in some cases, but I think holistically what we're experiencing as Americans is that Christianity is being pushed to the margins, and the privilege that Christians had in America is now being lost, and we're losing those privileges, and we're calling that persecution. Those are just privileges that are no longer there.
Right.
It's not because they hate Jesus.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you worship Jesus, we're going to take prayer, out of schools. That typically is not the argument. And the truth is again, so I don't want to keep reiterating. I just think, holistically too, I think one of the issues that I have with this is I think it's important for us to understand that the idea that it's our privileges that are being taken away. And then it's funny because we keep fighting for those privileges to be reinstated. When I think again, I think we're just viewing it the wrong way. I think we thought somehow that those privileges equaled influence, and that the world would be changed by the influence or the privileges that were there. That somehow, if we get the 10 Commandments in schools, that is evangelism. But that's not what God has called the church to be missional with. Right?
Yeah.
He's called us to be missional by how we live in the world and how we teach and share the gospel by word and by deed. It's not by what we post in public spaces.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I just feel like, we're not necessarily being persecuted.
Yeah.
We're just privileged. And now that privilege is gone, we are acting like people who have lost privilege, and we're indignant about the privilege that we lost, and we want that privilege reinstated because it makes things easier for us. But we are not being persecuted holistically.
No,
Our faith is not being persecuted.
I agree.
Our faith is just not being respected.
Right.
It's not given priority.
Yeah.
But that does not necessarily mean persecution.
Right.
So anyway, any final thoughts?
Not in persecution.
Oh, here we go.
So back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the
what, emojis?
Well, just like getting older and things like that.
So we gonna leave persecution so you can
Well, we were
persecute
done.
me.
Did you have something else to say?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, you know how like when my dad tells stories, how does he normally tell them that I always comment on?
What?
Like when my dad tells a story, and then like he always like will say something and kind of leaves you like at a cliffhanger,
Yeah,
and then goes on says something else, and then kind of
it's kind of disjointed. Is that me?
You do like you know, I noticed, you know, not just, I'm not talking about like today, I'm talking about like before. I've noticed like when you're trying to say stop, you're not asleep. No, but like, you know, when you're talking sometimes and then you just, you know, you'll be like, you know, you space for, not space out, but like you pause.
Yeah, well, that's on purpose too, because I'm
Oh.
trying to not use filler words. But here,
But no, you do that when we're just talking. Yeah,
but that's because my mind is going 1,000 places at the same time, and I'm trying to catch it. You know what I mean? You know, it's actually more of a sign of brilliance.
I knew you was gonna say that.
You know, I mean, my mind just thinks at a pace that normal, you know, humans can't comprehend. So I have to wheel it back in sometimes.
Good one. That was good.
And then
was good.
Oh, is that an emoji? Was that a prayer or is that a high five?
That was a high five. That wasn't a prayer.
Praying together.
See, I'm actually do it. I'm not gonna send an emoji. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know. But yeah, I get that. No. I get that. I do that.
Yeah.
And I do think it's a sign of getting
up there.
Yeah, getting up in age.
Yeah. Which is a beautiful thing. I love it.
Well, you know, you can't call somebody out for being old and then try to encourage them afterwards. It just doesn't, you know, like it's a beautiful thing. You know, the closer we get to the grave, the sooner we see Jesus. And you're almost there, babe. Babe, you're almost there. You're almost ready to see our Lord. You're going to see our Lord. To be absent from the body is to be present with him. And babe, you're one step away.
Alan, I cannot breathe. Stop.
Oh, who's that? Oh, babe, there's the Grim Reaper. He's here for you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for listening to Church Dropout. We need to close this one off.
All right.
I love you, babe.
Yeah, I love you too. Thank you for tuning into the Church Dropout podcast. As always, drop a comment below. Keep the conversation moving forward. We certainly appreciate it. Drop us a comment on our emoji discussion, our getting old discussion, death is at your door discussion, falling asleep in the middle of conversation discussion, and oh yeah, is the church being persecuted today? You know, that's important. Very important. You know, maybe I should go out and try to be persecuted so that I can get to the grave quicker than I'm already going. I don't have that much time left, so I might just want to go ahead and end it. You know, so you're right.
Yes, I can't breathe.
All right, y'all. We love y'all. Yeah, welcome. I mean, we out. See, I don't know whether we coming or going at this point. This is just getting worse. What the day is? What the day is?
No, it's what the day is. My medication ain't kicked in yet.
I didn't even take my medication this morning.
All right, we love you guys.
All right, we out.
Good night.